Good afternoon. It's April the 1st, 2015, and the code word is Go Michigan. I decided to make a supplementary video to go along with the video that I made a few days ago to give a little bit more information about the Zilla 1K HV for sale. Principally, I just wanted to show some of the connections that I use for the demonstration video. And so I'll start with the main traction pack. This traction pack is made up of almost 30 small 16 amp hour sealed lead acid batteries, and I didn't need that much voltage for the demonstration, so I just picked a tap point after 14 batteries. So that's where the anode here is, this orange wire which goes to the controller. And then over here on the other side is the cathode, the most negative point of the battery pack, and that's this red wire right here. And this leads to the back of the Zilla, where the B- terminal is. And I'll bring the camera around to show you the back of the Zilla now. Okay, so there's the B- terminal with the red cathode of the battery pack going in there, and then below that on the bottom terminal is the B+ terminal, and the other two terminals are the S1 and the S2. Those are for the motor. Now back over here on the anode is connected to, in this case I just used one of the Heinemann circuit breakers. The circuit breaker is rated at 160 volts, so this is enough for the demonstration. This component here is a semiconductor fuse rated at 500 amps, and this component is a 500 amp rated current shunt, and this is not the actual current shunt which ships with the kit. This is just the one that I'm using on this project at the time. There's another one which is actually in much better shape than this one. And this component is the Tyco LEV200 contactor, which I'll get to in just a moment. First, I wanted to show you the plus 12 volt power supply for the hairball. And that starts out in the cabin of this project vehicle. So I have a cigarette lighter dongle which I use, and I plug it in there and turn the key on. And the reason I wanted to use that circuit was that this cigarette lighter already has a fuse, so it's a fuse protected circuit. And then on the end of this dongle I just have some speaker wire. Speaker wire is kind of small. Ordinarily you would want to use some bigger wire, smaller gauge wire, to carry more current. And the speaker wire just runs back to the back there. And here is the 12 volt supply, which leads into the terminals on the hairball called, let's see if you can see that, chassis. I don't know if it's going to focus or not. Chassis ground and SLI. Yeah, not very good focus. Okay, so the other very critical thing I wanted to discuss was the connection of the contactor and the snubber diode. So this looks like a green plastic tube right here is actually a ballpoint pen casing that I repurposed to be a container for the snubber diode. And I did this way to prevent me from connecting the Zilla, and the hairball in particular, without the use of this snubber diode. So when you look at this contactor here, it's going to have 4 terminals on it. The 2 larger terminals with lugs, those are the the input from the battery and the output from the battery to the Zilla. And then there are these two white wires here. These are the control coil terminals for the contactor. And it doesn't matter what the polarity is. The polarity is ambiguous. You just have to choose one. And so I chose this one, the white one with the eyelet as the ground. And that eyelet screws directly into, or it did in the case of my Fiero, it screws directly into the chassis ground. So this is the ground for that circuit. And then the other side of that terminal is looks like it's sort of permanently wired, but it's not. It can be removed. The other side is one of the terminals of the snubber diode. Okay, that's considered the plus. And then the other side of the snubber diode is this blue wire. The blue wire also has an eyelet right there, and that also gets attached to the vehicle ground. So what that does is that puts the snubber diode in a circuit in parallel across the coils, the control coils of this contactor. The other wire coming off of the contactor is this red wire right here, and this is the control wire. The red wire leads directly to right there, the input on the hairball. Okay, so this wire is for the connection to the hairball. This is the plus supply to the control coil. This blue wire with the eyelet is for ground. You can just screw it directly to the chassis. And then this white wire with the eyelet is for ground as well. And it's very important. It looks like this is permanently attached to the contactor, but it's not. This snubber diode actually goes with this Zilla controller and this hairball, and this hairball should never ever be used without a snubber diode for protection. Okay, another thing I wanted to put up on here was the Palm Pilot 3, or the Palm Pilot 7 rather, and this has the rather useless feature of an antenna to connect to a cell phone network, and as far as I know that feature does not work. I just used it for, you know, the planner function, and you can sync this up to a computer, and you can download ptelnet to it, and through the sync cable, the sync cable will directly attach to the hairball. So it actually turned on when I raised the antenna, so I'm going to skip the activation. Let's put it up there. No, cancel. And then I can go in here and just diddle around with it. Right now the ptelnet is not on here because I'll explain that in just a moment. Just to give you a little demonstration of typing on the memo. Okay, so I just typed the code word on there. Oh, the glare is awful. That's going to be difficult to see. Yeah, that is going to be very difficult to see. Let's see if I can bring it over here in a darker area of my garage. Yeah, that's looking a little bit better. Now this Palm Pilot has a backlight feature. I'm going to try and turn that on. There. Okay. The backlight is not helping a great deal. Oh, that is not very good. Let's try indoors. Oh, okay, that's much better. Okay, going into my dark laundry room. Yeah. Well, let's see if I can type on this thing and hold the camera at the same time. Take that there. Get rid of that error message regarding the antenna charge up. Okay. If you can see that, I wrote somebody's name up there. Still not coming in very clearly. Let's see if it works better indoors without the backlight. Okay, that's the best we're going to be able to do with that. I'm giving up on trying to make that clear. Turn that off, and then I wanted to display one more thing. So the Palm Pilot comes with two cradles. This is one of the cradles right here. And what that does, it allows you to connect up to a personal computer via 9-pin serial port, which, as you can imagine, also plugs into the hairball. And I've actually done this. I've actually had it connected up and working with P-Telnet before. So this is one. There's actually two of these terminals which come with it. That plugs in, slides in just like that. But as you can see, it's not very secure. There's no detente. It'll slide out very easily. So I cut these little notches in the plastic on just this one. And the idea here is there's another notch right there and another notch on the front and the back notch, and two of those on the other side. And what I did was I took a heavy-duty rubber band and I wrapped it around, all the way around, and that secured this to the sync cable for on-the-road use. And I eventually gave up on that. It just became so much more convenient just to have a little laptop connected to the hairball instead, but that is available. Okay, and that's all I'm going to show for today, and that's all that's going to be shown before I take this thing apart and ship it. Thank you for watching.